Good day everyone, and welcome back to Beatings in Space, a SD Gundam G Generation Genesis Let's Play. My name is Ubaglo, and with me once again is...
Megalomaniac, hello internet.
And I am a shambling corpse.
Oh no. Okay, I'll admit it's been too long since the last time we recorded, so I actually don't remember what the last video I did was.
I think we'd finally actually done Mobile Suit Gundam.
You're probably right. It probably was. So obviously then we're going to go right into Lost War Chronicles. Yeah, I actually recorded this footage a while ago, so a lot of it is also kind of a little hazy to me. But I actually remember this mission being kind of neat.
Not a big fan of how aggressive Gundam is being right now. I mean,
oh, he's just trying to stand.
He's pointing. He's like, you.
Give me something to brace on. Making robots stand up is hard. Especially since like the pilot is also in this machine for the first time.
Well, that's not good.
Okay, I went and looked it up. Our last video was the second episode of the second mission of Mobile Suit Gundam.
Okay, that sounds about right. So what I remember from this mission is so Lost War Chronicles was another game, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a PS2 game released kind of toward the tail end of that console's life.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Not like super late into it, but
this mission, like the story justification for the stuff that's going on here, is kind of interesting because it's a lot of 08th MS Team. Because it's basically people in ground mobile suits. And I guess like the difference is, what if 08th MS Team was actually the people pioneering ground mobile suit combat?
Well, I saw someone drop Operation Odessa there.
Yeah, they're doing some of the groundwork to get ready for it.
yeah, I remember when this game came out and just being like thoroughly unenthused because it was like not literally the dozenth, but like felt like the dozenth, you know, here's a game set in 1 year war with some dudes doing stuff over there. And at that point I personally just kind of felt that worn out its welcome. But I've also never played the game, so I could be entirely wrong. It could be a very good game.
I never played this one either. Like the Gundam games that I had actually like put time into during that era was like Encounters in Space, Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam, and Zeonic Front.
Yeah. Also, hey, this is Canada. Does this actually look like Canada to you guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't believe they're still using gun tanks.
It's like the thing that I find the most funny, the most incredible about a lot of the side story stuff in the 1 year war is actually just how many gun cannons and gun tanks there are floating around, because the show suggests that the white base has the only ones that ever existed.
Like, I'm okay with gun cannons, but the gun tank just looks so comical and, like, out of place.
It's like,
especially the original one.
Yeah, it's basically the half step. Like, it is, they took a tank and then put a body on it.
Just doesn't look like it belongs.
There's later ones that they make less goofy, mostly by, you know, militarying them the hell up.
Yeah, not making them look like super robots.
Yeah,
like you, even just in this shot, like There is a big difference in how GMs look compared to almost any other GM modification in the 1 Year War. Like, ground GMs look so significantly different from just how comical regular GMs look.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the gun tank's head, really, that bothers me the most. It just looks so weird. Looks like a dog.
Yeah, the head is kind of weird.
The two little antennae on top.
Yeah. I guess the little, like, hands that are actually cannons are weird, too.
I feel that this, later 1 Year War stuff has the same problem that trying to do modern Star Trek stuff in the era of the original series has, where it's, has still the fact that this stuff looked like it was designed in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, anytime you add something new, it's hard to get that old look.
Yeah. And get people to take it seriously in modern day.
My favorite are all the touch screens that are in, like, quote-unquote modern original series stuff. And then you look back at the original stuff and everything has buttons, and it's like,
I know, they didn't conceptualize the touchscreen back then.
I guess not.
And all their computer monitors and stuff were still 4:3 aspect ratio.
Of course. The barbarians.
I know, right?
That wouldn't even live such a... I bet you they're still using EGA.
I want to say, from what I remember of the screens in the original series, they were probably vector monitors, which actually kind of would have been pretty futuristic, not because vector monitors were, like, exceptionally fancy for the time, but because they were, like, so infrequently seen.
Insubordination.
Executor!
I lack confidence. I don't like being a pilot. So why are you a pilot?
Not only is he a pilot, but he is the leader of this squadron.
How did that happen?
He's based...
So...
Yeah.
Is he burnt out?
It never... It's possible, but also it never straight up gets said, but I would not be surprised if the 1 Year War had, like, an actual draft. Given the scale of the conflict.
Yeah, but then even so, how did he end up as a pilot?
That I don't know.
Like a ground soldier, sure. But were there even ground soldiers? I guess there were.
Yeah, there were. The MS Igloo's, like, was it the third season of it, dealt with, like, ground unit stuff.
You don't even have to look at the third season. Like, the MS Igloo, one of the MS Igloo episodes that we've already done in here actually had ground soldiers in it, in the actual, the one with the Hildoffer. That one actually had ground troops in it, just not for very long.
You can imagine how much it would suck being an infantry dude going up against giant robots.
Yeah, really.
I mean, in the show, they almost won at one point. I'm pretty sure that episode is not going to be represented in this game, because that episode was also real dumb.
We'll capture these mobile suits that just blew up our ships. Surely we have a chance.
Clearly.
Honestly, come on.
I mean, it's three supposedly water-tuned mobile suits against two ground GMs who aren't.
How did they get across?
Very carefully. They weren't running from enemies. Like, they were able to approach more carefully, so now they're running away.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
Did you know the water's dangerous, guys?
No. We drink water, it's good for you.
Too much water is bad for you.
Oh, look at this stupid thing. Well, that's just drowning.
Well, also, there was, years ago, that story of the woman who basically drank herself, got water poisoning.
Yeah, drowning. She drowned.
Well, she didn't suffocate, though.
No, but she drowned. She drowned the really slow way.
Yeah. Can you destroy all enemy units with a gun tank?
That is actually kind of an interesting challenge for this mission. I'm not going to say it was overly difficult to arrange that, but it is still possible to sort of mess that up.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the gun tank has obscene range in this game, right?
It does. In fact, like some of the weapons the gun tank has are kind of goofy with like their ranges or their special abilities. Like, if I remember correctly, its normal hand cannons are considered anti-air attacks, which are real weird. But yeah, like the thing about the challenge on this stage is if you want to have the gun tank take out the enemies, you actually need to have like 2 or 3 turns of the enemy units attacking your ground GMs before they even get in range of the gun tank.
At the very least, you can soften them up.
Yeah, and thankfully, like even a full-on hit with the missile launcher is only like 3,000-ish damage, so it's you're not in too much risk of killing the enemies beforehand, but you still need to be a little careful.
The numbers of these G-Gen games always confuse me since I'm only really familiar with Super Robot Wars.
Yeah, it could be a bit different.
Yeah, and especially since it is a lot more deterministic than Super Robot Wars is. The formulas are still a little odd, but it's still pretty easy to look at. Like, your weapon damage is not heavily affected by any pilot skills. If anything, the only thing that really gets affected by pilot skills is armor and accuracy.
Yeah.
And even then, armor is only very slightly modified by pilot skills. There are some straight up pilot skill, like standard pilot skills, not necessarily your stats, that do have more of an effect on damage and armor, but you're still going to get the majority, like the bulk of your damage output based on your weapon's base power and whether you are in high tension or not.
Ooh, chance step.
Yeah, chance step is great.
Yeah. One of the more interesting mechanics these games have.
Yeah. I'm happy-ish that the modern G-Gens put a bit of a cap on it, although as hilarious as it was in F, where I would have a Leopard Destroy just chance-stepping all the way across the map, killing everything. Especially since the Leopard Destroy could do it with an attack that cost 5 EN, because the Leopard Destroy was a very well-balanced mobile suit.
Mm-hmm. There's a part you can get as it's probably one of the DLC maps you can do, but you get a part that lets you chance step infinitely.
Oh, nice. I haven't really.
Keep in mind, you can only get one in the game. So
that's
it's not super broken.
That's more than you need.
Yeah.
I haven't actually really looked at the DLC maps yet. Like, I know I have them all, I just haven't played any.
Most of them are just like goofy challenge things to earn you more money or more experience.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
And then there's one that lets you... There's a couple that unlock the parts. And I remember one just lets you fight... Actually, no, you don't even directly fight him, I think. But you can fight Yuki from Build Fighters in the Scramble Gundam.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I forget if you actually directly fight him or not, or just like competing against him.
Yeah. I remember that map is a thing. I just haven't played it yet.
Lithuania.
Yeah, like I like how far they go between part 1 and part 2. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Traveling around the world in the Gundam game, Gundam stuff is not really a thing. They just happen to like they just jump, which sort of makes like the whole arc about the white base trying to crawl its way to Jaburo like kind of a hilarious thing if you ignore the fact that they intentionally crawled their way in order to be a decoy.
Yeah.
That's silly.
It is. It's super silly.
Part of it is, I think, is also in the white base was when it entered Earth's atmosphere, it got stuck behind enemy lines, so they're getting chased the whole way. On the other hand, I also assume that in the video games it's based on, there were probably like 10 filler missions that you had to do before you got to this point.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And looking at this, it just seems like, hey, they should have just made an 8th MS Team game.
I wouldn't complain about that.
Here would I. 8th MS Team's amazing.
Yeah, it was.
They've made a few games around that idea, but most of them weren't very good, unfortunately, which really sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, one of these days, I really want to go back and try and give Crossfire more of a chance, but...
Oh, I have that. I've yet to play it.
Crossfire is rough.
I mean, it was like a launch PS3 title, so
yeah.
I'm not surprised it's rough.
I think the first Gundam game I ever owned was Zeonic Front.
Zeonic Front is, like, surprisingly good, even if it's kind of unbalanced.
I liked it.
It was interesting, yeah.
I also like that this guy here has a unique portrait, and yet they still just call him Zeon Soldier.
That portrait's great.
It's kind of a good portrait.
Yeah. No, the first Gundam game I owned was Gundam Battle Assault, the first one, which was... It was a fairly hacked together port of Gundam the Battle Master, except they replaced the Hamma Hamma with Wing Gundam.
I don't think I ever owned the first one. I owned Battle Assault 2.
Battle Assault 2 is way better.
Battle Assault 2 is
like,
really good.
Infinitely better.
Except for, like, the Devil Gundam being, like, real dumb.
This guy's hair is all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't know where it wants to rest. Like, I don't understand that part in the middle there. Like, what is going on there?
Male pattern
No,
baldness.
because if you look at the shadow, it looks like he has a big fleshy ridge that sticks out.
Anime male pattern baldness.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Doesn't look quite human.
He's also a big jerk.
I'm surprised this dude doesn't have a name.
Yeah, like, it just makes me wonder whether it's, like, there's an error in the translation, because it's... this character seems important enough that he should have a name, even if he's still kind of a jerk mook.
Maybe his name really is just Zeon Soldier, and that's his parents.
He loves Zeon that much.
His parents had a plan for him. That's all. Oh boy. Oh, he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy that's piloting the Dom. You would think he would actually have a name.
Yeah, so, like, especially since the point of this episode, so to speak, is that it's one of the first reveals of the Dom. The Lost War Chronicles crew is basically on a mission to, like, get information about the Dom, because reports of its sighting have been starting to circulate, but no real information has been acquired on it. So their mission is to, like, figure out what's up.
The Federation monster.
That's the big tray.
The land battleship.
Nah, I just find it amusing. Like, even in the original series, like, the Gundam even kind of achieved a mythological status amongst the Zeon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene that kind of shows that in Unicorn that I forget if this game has or not, but when the Unicorn Gundam first transforms and actually gets the V-fin and people are like, oh crap, it's a Gundam, it's like got this kind of underlying tone of, yeah, this is a Gundam. You guys are screwed because Gundams have always been this mythological thing that ruins, or that changes the shape of the war.
The only thing
that's one thing that strikes me as interesting, because other than the original Gundam itself, like the Universal Century has never really hung its hat too much on that. It's usually only been the side stories that have like really gone deep on Gundams being a magical, mysterious thing.
Well, the side story focuses on smaller groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind
But
of
I mean, like even like the Gundams in Zeta, Double Zeta, and Char's Counterattack they're just another mobile suit. Like they're not big things.
Well, I would consider those like part of the main thing.
Except you also have to factor in that those Gundams in those series were basically directly responsible for ending those wars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get like
I
was just going to say, when you get these side stories that focus on smaller groups, you get more time to get more acquainted with the characters and what they believe in, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not any surprise that those personal feelings come out.
It's also nice that a lot of the Universal Century side stories also don't have very many Gundams, so they can make the Gundams be special things.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Like that's actually kind of one thing that they did pretty well in Universal Century stuff. Like, yeah, the proliferation of mobile weapons still kind of got out of control, but they didn't go too far out of line in having in just throwing Gundams everywhere.
Seed.
Well, Gundam Wing, G Gundam.
Also Wing. Yeah.
Wings. I don't think Wings side stuff was as bad about it. I would actually say probably the one universe that was exceptionally bad. Like Seed is bad. Seed has a lot of just random Gundams, but they also don't kind of make Gundams that big of a thing in general, as a concept. But one the universes that really makes it a big deal, and it's kind of insane about it, is 00.
I've never seen 00. What about Gundam X though?
Gundam X... There's only one Gundam X side thing, and it has another Gundam in it, but to be fair, the Gundam X was set up as a mass-produced Gundam.
Yeah, the Gundams and Gundam X were basically mass-produced things. It's just they're rare in the time of Gundam X because, global cataclysm.
Right.
Well, the villains' Gundams were new, but yeah, basically everyone else's were just mass-produced models that were from the war.
What about, I don't know too much about the side stories of Turn A. Were there any?
None officially.
Not that I know of.
That's a shame. This Turn A was a really interesting story in itself.
One of the things that's kind of happened with Turn A is that it kind of, how to put this, because of the way it was presented in the whole timeline, basically anything is a Turn A side story.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It's weird. It's especially since stuff has now come after it, you have to ask, is this supposed to be part of Turn A or no?
Yeah, it's getting kind of strange. But at the same time, what's also been kind of making it strange has just been that Turn A got set up as the end of the Gundam timeline, but then no one between Seed and G Rico ever brought it up, and G Rico is the only one who's ever kind of made some insinuation that it is either before or after Turn A.
Right.
G Rico's weird anyway.
G Rico is real weird. I think it's pretty rad, but it's also real dumb.
It's interesting, but it is very weird.
I'm not familiar with it.
Honestly, I would recommend watching it. because it's like its premise is so dumb, but it's just presented so well.
What's its premise?
So it's
a bunch of bros who like to play Call of Duty on Xbox Live get a bunch of robots and go have an actual war.
Yeah, kind of. It's like in a way, the backdrop is kind of a retelling of the events of Turn A, where it's about the people from the moon or from space want to come back to Earth, and like the main foils are actually the main characters who think that they just want to be war heroes.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
It does sound bizarre.
It's really weird.
It is Tomino at its most Tomino.
Well, there you go. How many people die?
Yeah. Actually, surprisingly, no. It is fairly low in the death count.
Yeah.
I guess he cheered up.
I think he actually literally did.
This is Tomino on the gainer side, not on the V side.
I hate to interrupt, but are those? Why are the Zaku's fighting against the?
Oh, they're ums.
Yeah, they're my main characters.
Oh,
mobile suits.
I felt like I missed something there.
Yeah, so this second half, yes. Since it's been a while since the last time we had recording, a lot of the stages tend to be broken into two halves. One which is like just the story characters, and then the second half, which is the story characters plus your units. And the main thing, like the kind of the main reasons about that is one of the gimmicks is if you get XP with a guest unit, and you get enough XP with it, you can keep that machine after the mission without necessarily needing to unlock it through evolution or through combinations or whatever. So it just basically adds it to the store so you can buy it. So it actually makes like an interesting decision that you have to make when you're playing these stages, because your units are probably going to be a lot more powerful, especially since you have way more of them. And like with the way evolution and stuff works, like you can show up in this stage and have like an army of new Gundams.
I mean, yeah.
If
you could do that.
But if you do that, it means that in order to, it makes evolving through the tech trees a little bit harder, especially since some of these stages have units which you can only get through either, like, some of them have units you can only get this way, but some of them have special variants that you can kind of sort of get in another way, but getting this version is easier. For example, one of the missions that we did a few episodes ago, the Midnight Fenrir Zaku's, you can just, like, if you get their full XP in the stage, then you can just straight up buy them. If you don't do that, then in order to get a Midnight Fenrir Zaku, you need to put a Midnight Fenrir character in a Zaku, and it just changes it. So you can only get that variant if you're using a Midnight Fenrir character. But if you just wanted to use that variant with anyone, then you can max out the XP gauge for one of them, and then you can just buy it from the store.
I guess you could say that guy just got dominated.
Go stab yourself.
Oh, all I have is a flathead screwdriver, and that would really hurt.
Well, good. Gundam is such a confusing series. That's why I always stuck to the Super Robot Wars ones, because at least those have a semi-cohesive story.
There were some G Generation games that actually did have stories along the lines of Super Robot Wars. Basically, the Game Boy Advance and DS ones.
Yeah, it did tend to for a long time.
And also the Wonder Swan ones, but
yeah.
that would involve someone owning a Wonder Swan.
Oh no! Now you're really in trouble.
Yeah, the Act guys have shown up.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
They're gonna turn into bears, and they'll win your heart.
can't defeat the Akais.
I kind of wish that there were more Build Fighters units in this, but no, there's only Hot Scramble.
AK easy mode.
Yeah, it's kind of broken.
It is super. It is like literally they gave this to you if you want to just easy mode the game. Like, imagine Final Fantasy Tactics. They gave you TG Sid at the very beginning.
Yeah, that would probably not turn out for the best.
But again, it's up to you to whether or not to use it or not.
Yeah, like I have it. It's just it's sitting in my hangar, and I'm just going to level through the tech tree because I find that to be most of the fun of playing these games, like leveling up all the units and evolving through the tech trees and unlocking things in the store. Like that's why one of the things that I try and do for when I've done these Let's Plays, these videos, is having a different party each time. So like I can try and show off as many mobile suits as I can.
It could be worse. You could end up getting the Zessa at the start of the game and completely dominate everything. Because the Zessa is the best.
I think I have a Zessa.
The Zessa's just... It's the perfect mobile suit.
Oh yeah! Yeah, no, I do have a Zessa because I made you in it, and I said, hey, what do you... Actually, I didn't even ask you what you want because I knew you'd want a Zessa.
Yeah, Zessas are awesome.
I think I put you in the Unicorn Zessa.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask how many, which Zessas were in the game, because I had bet.
I think just the two main ones.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's like I gave our friend Blaine Dozel Zabi Zaku.
I've got a kit for...
For the record, it's a Zaku 2 with a giant axe.
Yeah, I know about Dozels. I got a unicorn version Zessa kit sitting over there on my bookshelf. I haven't been able to get it put together yet, though, so it's just in the box waiting for him to do that.
Gunfly is freedom.
I've got so many kits I need to get around to building. I'm like halfway through a full armor Thunderbolt Gundam. It's kind of cool, but parts of it have just been kind of annoying, so I've been putting it off. But I've already gotten past like the real annoying parts, so I should just finish it up. At this point, it's just setting aside the time to do it.
Yeah, I've been putting these ones off too, even though they're just high grade. They're not master grade, which are the ones that really gave me headaches.
Yeah, it's like I prefer master grade just because the scale lets there be more, just more stuff there.
They just haven't made a master grade Zessa yet.
Yeah. That's the problem right there. That's like why not? Why is there this discrimination against the Zessa?
So one thing that I was kind of struck by in this mission as well was how inconsistent they are about the way they present pilots. Since the rival team here is the captain in a standard Xeon officer uniform, a guy in a full-on pilot suit, and a guy in work clothes. And
I'm sure there's an explanation for it.
And it's fine, but it's just a weird inconsistency that it just kind of struck me as weird.
You would think they'd all be wearing pilot suits.
Yeah.
It's not very fair to take on these Zakus with the Phoenix gun.
No. Yeah, Buddy here is in a mechanic's uniform, or at least a ground soldier uniform.
Yeah.
Ken is in an officer uniform, and Jike is in a pilot suit. And it's just
well, and I can see them not needing pilot suits because they're in atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why, the OHMS team guys don't wear pilot suits either, and neither do Matt and his team. It makes sense. It's just why is Jike wearing a pilot suit?
I always just took it as the pilot suit's helping them with the G's of, you know. But, okay, we're almost done, actually.
Yeah. So that was the end.
Got a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah. So I did max out the get gauge for one of the ground GM, so that just adds the ground GM to my shop, so I can just buy another one. Although, like, I had a ground GM before this point, but I think I got it through using an exchange and not through an evolution. So if you do the exchange feature, it doesn't actually add it to your store. You only add new mobile suits to your store if you fill the get gauge of a guest character, or if you evolve to it. Or a combination. Combinations also add them to the store. If you capture or if you do an exchange, it doesn't add them to the store. It still adds them to the journal, though. So that was the first mission of the Lost War Chronicles story, and I actually don't have my list up here of what the next one's going to be. What is that one?
It'll be a surprise for everybody.
Oh, hey, next time we're going to go to Cross Dimension.
It'll be a surprise for nobody.
Anyway, so that's it for us for this time. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.